I just jizzed a little.
Holy shit, I love this game. What do you get when you cross Buffy the Vampire Slayer with the zombie B-movie and add some of No More Heroes' gameplay? You get the over-the-top, zombie-killing insanity that is Lollipop Chainsaw. It comes from the twisted mind of Suda51, responsible for Killer 7 and No More Heroes, and James Gunn, who you probably know is the guy behind Guardians of the Galaxy. Dropping back in 2012, Lollipop Chainsaw is a sillier and more lighthearted take on the zombie genre. It ditches the usual seriousness, dread, and commentary about the decline of humanity for the arcadey, zombie-slaying fun. I absolutely adore this game, so join me for the next 30 or so minutes as I metaphorically jerk off this game's dick. The game stars Juliet Starling, the captain of the cheerleading squad at her local high school, San Romero High. She's excited to celebrate her 18th birthday after school with her family and boyfriend, but unfortunately for her, a zombie outbreak has taken place, her classmates being killed and turned into the undead. This isn't a big issue for Juliet though, as she comes from a family of zombie hunters, so now it's up to her to slice and dice her way through the Walking Dead to save the day. Joining Juliet on her journey to stop the zombies is her loving boyfriend Nick, who has seen better days. Saving his girlfriend from a zombie, he ends up bitten and on the brink of turning into one himself. But not wanting their romance to end tragically, Juliet lops Nick's head off and keeps him alive with some magic, attaching him to her skirt to keep him safe. Not sure I'd want to live as a head, but hey, at least the view isn't too bad. Bringing our romantic leads to life are the voice talents of Tara Strong, who you'll recognize as the voice of Timmy Turner from Fairly OddParents, Riku from Final Fantasy X, and Harley Quinn after taking over the role from Arlene Sorkin, and many, many more roles. Meanwhile, Nick is voiced by Michael Rosenbaum, who you'll recognize as Lex Luthor on Smallville, and the voice of the Flash on Justice League. Combat consists of Juliet using her trusty chainsaw to eviscerate and kill any zombie she comes into contact with. She can also use her pom-poms and cheerleading moves to combo and stun zombies before pulling out her chainsaw to dismember them. Scattered across the level, you can also pick up lollipops to regain health. As you cut the undead to pieces, a score counter will go up through the level. In order to gain a higher score, you'll want to chain combos together and group as many zombies as you can together in order to activate Sparkle Hunting. Sparkle Hunting works as a combo multiplier, activating anytime you behead 3 or more zombies at once. It'll greatly boost your score in a level and give you a bigger drop in gold and platinum zombie medals, this game's currency. Killing zombies also drops Star Souls that'll charge a meter Juliet can use to activate a kind of super mode when it's full. Juliet will start glowing like she picked up a star in Super Mario, while the song Hey Mickey starts playing, allowing her to one-shot most zombies and making Sparkle Hunting a lot easier to pull off. Besides her trusty chainsaw, Juliet can also make use of Nick's head as a weapon. Spread out in certain stages are Nick Tickets, a special item that when activated, a roulette wheel will spin, allowing you to use different moves with Nick's head. From spinning his head around her to just straight up shooting it at zombies, Juliet can use her boyfriend's head to make zombies groggy and open them up for instant decapitation and Sparkle Hunting. It also doubles as an extra life if Juliet dies, saving you from using a continue and ruining your score, but only if you die in battle. More on that later. Going back to the zombie medals, they can be used at the Chop to Shop kiosks spread across the level, where Juliet can buy new combo moves, health and defense upgrades, lollipops and Nick tickets, along with new costumes, MP3s, and concept art. I love the different costumes she can unlock, not just because some of them are sexy as hell. Really, really sexy.
God damn.
But also because Juliet can cosplay ladies from some of my favorite anime series. Rei and Seiko from High School of the Dead, which seems appropriate considering their shared premises. Along with Shiro from Dead Man Wonderland, Juliet can even dress up as the groovy, boomstick-wielding Ash Williams from the Evil Dead movies. Or she could, if you had the pre-order DLC code. That's probably the thing I hated the most during that generation of gaming. Pre-order only DLC, especially when it's already on the disc. Arkham City had the same bullshit going on during its release too. And coincidentally, both were published by Warner Bros. Games. Throughout the levels, you'll encounter some of your fellow students in danger, needing you to rush in and save them before they're torn to pieces. Saving them nets you a bonus of zombie medals, along with a cheesy line of dialogue.
Juliet, I am so totally gonna masturbate to you tonight.
And are essential in getting the game's good ending. But I'll talk about that later. After you've made it through a stage, you'll get a ranking based on your performance in-game, judging you on the amount of zombie medals collected, number of times you've activated sparkle hunting, your completion time, and if you use the continue or not. You'll be ranked in comparison to Juliet's dad and sisters. If you manage to beat their scores, you'll unlock more to buy in the shop. And you can go onto online leaderboards too.
Welcome to my bedroom. Don't think that me letting you in here is an invitation for any funny stuff. I mean, not that I have a problem with funny stuff. Especially not if you really like the person. But that isn't what I wanted to talk about. Today is, as they say in Spain, my cumpleaños. That's right, my birthday. I'm 18 today.
The game begins with Juliet in bed, waking up on her 18th birthday and introducing herself to the player. She fills us in on her school life, tells us about her family members, and the love of her life, Nick. Juliet is going to introduce Nick to her family at her birthday party tonight, but is nervous about the meeting as she's unsure of how he'll react to meeting them and learning she comes from a family of zombie hunters. After a shower and getting dressed, she realizes she's late to meet with Nick, running off to school, wondering if her day could possibly get any worse. Well...
Oh my god! What the heck happened? Gross! Back off! No! Yeah!
Zombies are crawling all over the parking area and outside of the school, chasing and killing survivors and blocking Juliet's path to her beloved Nick. She cuts a path through the undead, not really questioning what's going on. I guess as a zombie hunter, she's used to this kind of thing happening. Finally reaching where she promised to meet Nick, she's almost caught off guard by a zombie, but Nick manages to save her. Unfortunately, poor Nick ends up getting bitten. Looks like it's all over for him.
I love you too, baby!
Or not. After the prologue, Nick wakes up to see he's miraculously alive, but unfortunately only as a head now. Like I explained at the beginning, Juliet's used magic to keep Nick's head alive, and to keep him from turning into a zombie. He's less than pleased with the situation. Who wouldn't be? And questions how Juliet knows how to do any of this. She confesses she's a zombie hunter before strapping him to her butt and returning to some zombie slaying action. We're now in Stage 1, San Romero High. Things aren't going so great inside the school. Most of the students and teachers now joining the ranks of the Walking Dead. Here you'll encounter some new zombie variants. The bomber zombie that will blow itself to bits for a decent amount of damage if you don't kill them fast enough. Fire zombies, which pretty much only exist to set off the bomber zombies instantly. And policeman zombies, who have an annoying charge move with their baton and can shoot you from long distances. Running through the stage, you'll eventually find a glowing blue headless zombie. These zombies can be controlled by attaching Nick onto their necks. It works as a minigame and obstacle remover, hitting the right button prompts while Juliet does some cheerleading. It's a bit underwhelming, honestly. I think maybe having Nick fight for you for a bit, or maybe have him engage in an actual puzzle to clear an area would have been a lot more interesting. This just kind of feels like filler. Making it to the gym, you'll be challenged to a game of zombie basketball. Juliet will have to score baskets by decapitating zombies, trying to beat their score with a limited amount of time. It's easy enough. Just pull the zombies to the 3-point line, lop their heads off, and kill any zombies trying to block the hoop. Continuing through the school, Juliet makes it to the cafeteria, where we're introduced to her sensei, Morikawa Sensei.
Sensei!
Ah, Juliet! One moment, please. Hey, Rasai!
He's Juliet's zombie hunter sensei, having trained and taught her how to fight zombies. Morikawa is basically this game's version of Master Roshi, a pervy old martial arts master. He gives us an explanation on the lore of this game, that the universe is divided into 3 different dimensions: Earth, the land beyond worlds, which is basically heaven, and Rotten World, the source of evil and the zombie plague. According to him, someone used black magic and explosives to blow a hole in Rotten World, causing the outbreak to happen. They team up to find the person responsible, Juliet clearing out the cafeteria and an explosive birthday cake before reuniting with her sensei. and confronting the person responsible, her goth classmate, Swan.
Oh man, there's nothing more hysterical to me than watching this world burn. This world, this government, this society made my life a hell. Well, now everyone is gonna know a life of hell forever!
Design and personality-wise, Swan is what you get when you combine Robert Smith of The Cure, Billy the Puppet, and a bit of Elliot Rodger. More on that later. Like all goth kids, he wants to destroy his school, the government, society, and generally sinking the world into misery and pain, killing all the conformists. After monologuing, he summons and forms a pact with the Dark Purveyors, powerful rock zombie lords who serve as the bosses for this game. After Morikawa-sensei fails to stop him, Swan will command one of the Dark Purveyors to attack Juliet and start a boss fight.
I'm gonna crush your face! I'm loving this shit! Your ass is mine! I love the smell of almost dead cheerleader in the morning! Yeah! Woo!
Torturing small animals? What kind of whack job waterboards Chip and Dale? That makes Skyliner here like the most uncoolest dude ever!
After a quick run through a junkyard, Juliet will get up on stage to confront the punk rock zombie, Zed. Holy shit, I love this guy. His punk rock design, his vulgar and over-the-top personality, his epic boss music, it's all so fucking good. If your parents told you growing up that words can't hurt you, then they've never met this guy. As Zed can weaponize profanities, screaming the words and firing them as huge red letters at Juliet. During the first phase of the fight, he'll mainly do that, along with trying to stab Juliet with his mic stand, dive at her from above, and zoom around the stage to avoid her attacks. He can also block your attacks by spinning his mic stand, requiring you to get behind him in order to damage him.
That was hot. Did you see that?
You think that hurts me? I just jizzed a little.
After putting himself back together, Zed shifts into the second phase of his fight, dropping a ton of speakers onto the stage. He'll jump from speaker to speaker, attacking with his Mohawk fist, jumping away after destroying the speaker he's on. Once you've cleared out the speakers, he'll summon a giant one you have to chop down while he attacks you with words again. Knock it down and cut into him again to enter the last phase.
Oh, that one actually hurt a little, bitch!
Phase 3 of this fight has Zed fighting more aggressively, chasing after Juliet more, trying to stun her with his mic, and using 2 Mohawk discs that have to be dodged, or else get stunned and take a ton of damage. If you time your dodge right though, it'll hit Zed and stun him instead. His last attack is a variation of his profanity blast, blowing you away as he screams "yeah" over and over, the letters constantly pushing you back. Get up close and finish him off once and for all.
Not cool! Oh, fuck! Oh, I'm not done screaming yet! Oh, this really fucking hurts, man! Oh!
Jeez, so emo.
With Zed purified, Morikawa-sensei reappears, now in really rough shape after the fight with the Dark Purveyors. He collapses in front of Juliet, and hands her a map of the town, explaining that the other Dark Purveyors have taken over other areas and are now waiting for her. Unfortunately, the old man's injuries are too severe, and he passes away, but not before giving Juliet her birthday gift. His spirit leaving his body, he boards an elevator to heaven, putting his faith in Juliet and Nick and stopping the Dark Purveyors. Opening the gift from her late master, Juliet unlocks the Chainsaw Dash, letting her dash at high speeds from stage 2 onward. Though she can overheat her chainsaw if she does this for too long, temporarily disabling her attack. Needless to say, it gets a lot of mileage as we enter the next level, the stadium. As Juliet and Nick have a discussion over the pros and cons of being a severed head, a huge Viking ship flies overhead.
Hello, Skraelings! Lots of tasty treats for you here, eh, you Neil?
Rocking the drums and firing down lightning below is the next dark purveyor, the Viking metal zombie, Vic. Or wait, is it Vicky? VK, got it. And if this Viking zombie sounds familiar, that's because he's voiced by none other than Mary Poppins himself, Michael Rooker. Watching VK rain destruction from the sky, Juliet notices that he has a stowaway on his ship, and it just so happens to be her older sister, Cordelia. Seeing the destruction caused by the zombies, she sprung into action to assist her sister. She goes on ahead, but not before tossing her little sister her birthday present. Unfortunately, it floats away, so Juliet will have to track it down on her way to catch up to her sis and VK. Like I mentioned before, the stage really puts the chainsaw dash to use, as Juliet will have to jump over ramps to get from area to area, along with picking up oil cans to keep her chainsaw lubed and her speed going without it overheating. This is probably my least favorite stage out of all the ones in the game for several reasons. One is that it looks too similar to the high school stage we were just in. Two is that the enemies here are a lot more annoying, as the football players and firemen zombies soak up a lot of hits and can stun lock you with their attacks. And more than likely, this will be the stage where you end up getting your first death, and for the cheapest of reasons. The first source of cheap deaths is the return of the zombie basketball game. You have a shorter clock to make baskets in, but more importantly, you'll have a much stronger zombie blocking the hoop this time. The idea is you're supposed to hit him with a dropkick to send him flying and stun him, but the problem is you won't always be able to lock onto him perfectly with other zombies nearby. And because of the weird camera, there's a good chance you'll end up missing him when you try a dropkick. So it's very likely you'll end up wasting time trying to get rid of him and won't score enough baskets in time. The second is a lot worse, especially if you're trying to get the Go Metal Racer Go trophy / achievement. At a certain point as you're dashing on top of the rooftops, you'll find a split in the path. Taking the right path will let you gather more medals, but you now have to outrun a collapsing building. Just pick up the oil cans and stay on the path, right? Nope. Because of a dumb quirk of the chainsaw dash, you actually slow down if you're holding forward. So if you're still holding onto the analog stick after you make the jump, you're guaranteed to die. Nothing in the game tells you this. Up until this point, if you were pushing forward like you would with most games like a mechanic like this, you wouldn't have even noticed that you'd slowed down. I died a few times here before I gave up and took the safer path instead, and had to look up later what I was doing wrong. Finally, the third type of cheap death comes with the zombie baseball minigame. Once you've made it through the level, you'll eventually find Cordelia's present, unlocking the chainsaw blaster. This will let Juliet use her chainsaw like a gun to shoot at zombies with ammo scattered around the stage. This gets put to use in the aforementioned minigame, where she'll slap Nick's head onto a headless zombie and need to protect him while he runs across the bases 3 times. The problem is that the chainsaw blaster has god-awful auto-aim, so while you're trying to shoot at a zombie trying to attack Nick, it may end up snapping to a different zombie instead. And since Nick is slow as hell and can barely survive a few hits, it's very easy to get screwed here. Unless you get lucky with the aiming, you're better off switching the aim to manual instead in the options menu, which again isn't spelled out anywhere and you wouldn't have known beforehand unless you were tweaking some gameplay options. When you know what you're doing and have some decent upgrades, this stage is a cakewalk and pretty easy to speedrun, but your first time through it's going to be a massive level of frustration. After all that nonsense is done, Juliet will reunite with her sister Cordelia in the pool area where VK has parked his ship. She takes a moment to introduce her to Nick. Like her sister, Cordelia is not really bothered by him being a severed head, and actually thinks it's pretty cool. VK taking off into the skies, Cordelia launches Juliet up onto the ship for the next boss battle.
If it isn't the Pirates of the Jerkovian!
You've got a lot of gall setting foot on my ship, Stelpa.
Getting a little seasick.
All right, boys. Ymir, let's cut this bit into bite-sized chunks. I'm gonna use her face to make a hat, and use her spine as a back scratcher. Let's show her the Viking way! Ha 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 ha!
VK is more straightforward than Zed, charging towards Juliet as opposed to running around like Zed did. In the first phase, VK will primarily attack by swinging his massive axe and stunning Juliet with lightning strikes. Like Zed, he too can block her chainsaw attacks, needing to circle around him to damage him at times. He'll also leap away onto his drum set, rocking on the drums and summoning flying zombies to attack Juliet. You'll have to shoot him down with the chainsaw blaster in order to avoid the attack and bring him back down.
Got a lot of gall, little girl.
After cutting him in half, VK's top half will float around trying to attack Juliet with wider axe swings, while his lower half attacks Juliet from the ground. This phase is a lot easier as his legs go down pretty quick, and VK stays close enough to you where you can chainsaw him instead of having to shoot him down. He'll occasionally summon his legs for a surprise dropkick, but it's easy to dodge.
I feel the power of the gods in me blood.
In his third stage, VK's severed head will grow huge and eat what's left of his body. This is the easiest phase as he mostly tries to slam into Juliet, his head bouncing around the boat like a top. He can also attack from far away and fire a mouth laser, but it's easy enough to dodge and he didn't even use the move during my first encounter with him. Chop and shoot away, and that's another Dark Purveyor down.
Impossible! I can't be beaten by a little girl! I'm a warrior!
I hear Viking brains are good for the complexion. Whoa! No! Stop! What?
This bites my non-existent balls.
Killing VK unfortunately had the side effect of no one controlling his ship, now falling out of the sky with our couple still on it, crash landing on stage 3, the abandoned farm.
Juliet? Juliet!
Rosalind!
Who?
My little sister!
Let me guess. She's also a freaking zombie hunter?
Hey, Juliet! I came to save you! Something's wrong with this bus! Oh, it's really irritating! Is that a new purse? Wait, it's your boyfriend! He's a decapitated head? Fuck me! That's the coolest thing ever! Ah, I almost hit a bird! Look out!
Waking up on the ground, we're introduced to Juliet's younger sister, Rosalind. And she's really, really annoying. Like, she just doesn't shut up for most of the level, screaming her head off and driving like crazy throughout most of the farm. I get that she's meant to be the bratty sister type, but she comes off more as a hyperactive kid on a sugar rush. Her gift for Juliet is probably the most underwhelming too, as it's a new unlock for Nick Roulette, the Nick Popper, which Juliet can use to fire Nick's head at zombies to stun them. This level will have you alternating between the regular chainsaw and the blaster, certain segments having you fight off flying zombies or protect Rosalind's bus from falling rocks and bomber zombies. This stage is somehow better than the last one, but also more boring, especially since it feels like it drags on for too long. The only thing of note is that you'll enter psychedelic trips after chopping down large mushrooms.
Where are we?
I'm dizzy, Juliet. Oh, man. It's like some weird giant egg. Some kind of fucked up chicken monster!
Out of my way, Pronghorn Leghorn! We need to get to Rosalind's bus!
Here you'll fight giant zombie chickens. For some reason, I don't get it. It's easy stuff, and afterward, Juliet will end up on a combine harvester, running over zombies while You Spin Me Round by Dead or Alive plays. Hope this doesn't give anyone PTSD of meatspin.com. Partway through the level, Rosalind finally shuts up, but the game treats it as a bad thing as she's obviously acting very weird. Eventually, it's revealed that Rosalind was captured and replaced by an illusion, courtesy of the next Dark Purveyor, the psychedelic zombie, Mariska.
Who the hell are you?
Oh, Sister Juliet and Brother Nick. Let's travel to the land beyond the doors of perception. Step outside the boundaries of your mind. Lose yourself in the eternal, collective unconscious. And rot.
Listen, lady, why don't you try using some deodorant? Because honestly, you smell like shit.
This one was just as insolent.
Rosalind!
Now, open your heart and let my music guide you into the world of everlasting peace and rot and hell.
Mariska is probably the nicest of the Dark Purveyors, mainly because she's not calling Juliet a slut every other sentence, and she mostly rambles on about random hippie stuff. Her boss fight is the easiest and dullest of all the Dark Purveyors though, as she'll float around in the center of the area, firing psychic bubbles at Juliet. You'll mainly move around the arena shooting at her with the chainsaw blaster till you shoot her out of her shield, opening her up to a finish. Though, unlike the other bosses, you only have a few seconds to reach and attack her. After getting cut in half, her two halves will regenerate into two new Mariskas, before splitting in half and regrowing again, creating 4 copies. It's more of the same now as you have to shoot her and her clones, the clones occasionally attacking Juliet with the giant chicken head from the mid-boss battle, and the Combine Thresher. Kill all the Mariskas, cut her in half again, and she'll split into 8 copies now. Nothing really different now outside of their increased number and a new rocket attack added to their arsenal. Kill all the copies, break her illusion, and finish off this smelly zombie hippie.
Choke on your Birkenstocks, you psilocybin munching moron!
Heavy. Peace out. Way out.
Whoa. We've been here the whole time.
Despite Mariska's death, Rosalind is still missing. Before starting a search though, Juliet will get a call. It's the rapper T-Pain.
Hey there, Juliet. Are you ready to boogie woogie?
Who is this?
The one you ain't gonna level up on.
Why are you pretending to be Stephen Hawking?
Sorry, I mean it's the next Dark Purveyor, Josie, who captured Rosalind at some point and is holding her hostage at the Fulci Fun Center. He tells Juliet to meet him there if she wants her sister back. But Nick points out it's an obvious trap. With no other choice, they'll have to rush in and save her alone.
Hey, baby.
Or not, as Gideon Starling, Juliet's dad, shows up to offer his help.
I'm worried about Rosalind.
Hell, that girl knows trouble like apple knows pie.
Excuse me.
Boy, you be careful now about where you're touching my daughter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you ever felt nervous having to meet your girlfriend's dad, at least be glad you're not a severed head like Nick. Gideon is a pretty cool dad, an Elvis look-alike with a bit of an abrasive attitude. Despite that, you know he really cares about Juliet and the rest of his family, and even if he's busting his chops, he likes Nick too. Arriving at the fun center, they devise a plan. Juliet acting as a decoy to take on most of the zombies, while her dad sneaks in and heads to the roof to save Rosalind. Before he goes, he gives his little girl her birthday present. Another Nick roulette move? Nick shoot. Fitting for an arcade, this level is retro video game themed, with Juliet being sucked into arcade machines in between the usual zombie slaying. The first virtual world she'll be in is essentially Pac-Man, but with Juliet as the ghost and Josie controlling these Pac-Man ripoffs, the Dokuro-Man. Juliet just has to collect all 8 keys spread out in the level in order to proceed while avoiding them. The next virtual world has Juliet climbing up a 2D tower, taking elevators to climb up each level, entering pink doors that will warp her to another part of the level, and doing her usual zombie slaying. Once you've reached the goal and returned to the real world, you can enjoy some pole dancing fun before encountering a new zombie type. These guys carry boom boxes that will power up their fellow zombies, becoming more durable and dealing more damage unless they're killed first. While the virtual levels have been okay, I guess, not really all that spectacular, this final one is absolute garbage. Juliet will be on a gondola that you control to slowly scale the side of a building, shooting down obstacles and zombies. Sounds simple enough, right? Nope. Cheap difficulty rears its ugly head, as you die instantly if you get hit by anything. Not only that, but there are rows of windows that open and close as you approach them, blocking the way. Problem is, it's easy to miss seeing a window close, making you think it's safe, trying to pass over it, only for it to open and instantly kill you. Oh, and anytime you die, you have to start at the bottom of the building. And this level is long, so it's insanely frustrating to get near the end, accidentally step on a window as it opens, and then die, and have to do it all over again. Overall, I'd call the Fulci Fun Center a real mixed bag in terms of level design. While I don't hate it as much as the stadium, it feels very disjointed. Entering a virtual world for a short segment, then a zombie slaying segment, before jumping right into another virtual world. Having the whole game take place in a virtual world would have worked better. Juliet completing individual goals to proceed in the game world until she finally escapes. That, and maybe some kind of live system for the minigames like the building climb. The game is pretty easy on normal, I get it, but making your minigame cheap one-hit deaths isn't a fun way to add difficulty to the game.
Whoa, baby! Time to get the fuck out!
Eventually, you'll make it to the funk zombie, Josie, and his design is, well, it's certainly something. His design takes inspirations from Baron Samedi, a Loa spirit of voodoo magic, a pimp, the funk rock genre, and a dash of rapper T-Pain. Not really sure what's going on with the diaper. Maybe it's supposed to represent that he's immature, I guess? Or maybe it's a poop sock joke? He spends so much time playing video games he can't even get up to use the bathroom? I don't know, I'm just reaching here. His fight is a step up in difficulty compared to Mariska, but it's also a lot more annoying. He'll be fighting you on a mini UFO saucer. And like her, you're mainly using the chainsaw blaster to fight him, as he moves too fast and flies up out of range to reliably hit him with your chainsaw. He'll mainly attack by firing laser beams at Juliet, while calling her retarded. Over and over again.
Are you retarded? Are you retarded? Are you retarded? Are you retarded? Are you retarded?
Once you drop his health to half, he'll fly up in the air and start dropping pixelated bombs. You'll now have to climb the conveniently spawned rainbow staircases to pick up more ammo and shoot him from above. The annoying part happens here as it's easy to get hit by a bomb before you can grab ammo to shoot him. Not only that, but it's possible to run out of ammo before you can even get to this phase, so you have to try your luck with hitting him with your chainsaw as he's darting around.
I won't let this herb get away!
After cutting him in half, he'll ascend above and pilot an even bigger UFO, with Juliet and her dad riding on it. The rest of the fight is now on a time limit, with Juliet having to rush to these energy conduits to destroy them and weaken the UFO. Josie will electrify them to damage Juliet, and also attack her with floating voodoo skulls. Once all the conduits are destroyed, his energy shield will go down, allowing Juliet to finally finish him off as her dad saves Rosalind.
For me. Go ahead, Juliet.
Looks like you're out of coins, weird voice guy.
May it speed to Redgate Mario.
Back on the ground, Juliet and her family are at the unfinished Cathedral, and the location of the last Dark Purveyor. Gideon devises a plan of attack. This time around, Juliet's sisters will help out in various ways throughout the stage to help her progress. Through the first part of the stage, Cordelia will provide cover fire in open areas to assist Juliet. Though with how easy it is to mow down zombies, it's hard to notice how much she actually helps. There'll also be certain parts where you have to hold the line for a certain amount of time until Cordelia can get you out of trouble. Deeper into the cathedral, her older sister tags out, and my favorite character, Rosalind, steps up.
Hey, Juliet, look what I found!
Just kidding. Rosalind is still extremely annoying. Even more so now as she's controlling a wrecking ball. Through this construction area, Rosalind will open up new paths to advance through, and also help Juliet fight large crowds of zombies. Only problem is that huge wrecking ball can hurt her older sister too. While admittedly I wasn't hit once during this encounter, and got the associated trophy for doing it, it didn't exactly endear me to the spastic younger sister.
Juliet, I see it. Hold on to something.
After dealing with Rosalind and reaching the end of the level, Gideon opens up a way below to reach the last Dark Purveyor, wishing Juliet and Nick luck, and giving them his blessing on their relationship. Aw, how sweet. Down below, Juliet is reunited with Swan. Remember him? The main villain who started this whole thing? Yeah, despite him causing all the death and destruction in the first place, he barely shows up at all in this game. Juliet doesn't get to grill him for very long before they're interrupted by the rock and roller zombie lord, Louis Legend. Cue another boss battle.
I love your passion, man. Looks like we can make beautiful death together. I've got a feeling when I start playing, you're just gonna die! Rock and roll is here to stay. You're not!
Louis Legend is my favorite boss in the game, and he's easily the best boss fight too. I love his greaser rock and roll look, his crazy pompadour, his badass motorcycle, and his epic boss theme. He starts the fight by circling the outside of the arena, shooting at you with his machine gun guitar before charging in for an attack. If you swing your chainsaw at him while he's charging you, you can counter him to stun him for free damage. Once you've done enough damage, you'll knock Louis off his bike, freeing him up to get sliced and diced.
Alright, Jiggy, keep up now. We gonna fly. You ready? Now let's go to the depths of hell! Hello, rock! Sorry to keep you waiting.
So I wasn't sure what to expect after the first takedown, but Louis combining with his motorcycle and summoning an elephant mech sure as shit wasn't it. No clue what elephants have to do with rock and roll, but holy shit is it awesome. His mech has a ton of new attacks. It can attack with saw blades, Gatling guns, use the exhaust to cover its feet in fire, and an electric blade too. On top of that, it's fast, and it moves around the arena so you have to use chainsaw dash to keep close to it. This is a much longer fight compared to the other Dark Purveyors, as Louis's elephant mech needs to be taken down several times, each time disabling one of its limbs or weapons and changing its form. As his mech gets smaller, his attacks will get more aggressive, charging more often around the arena or firing off a barrage of missiles. The trade-off is his mech overheats faster, so you get more opportunities to charge in and hurt him. Once you've cut that elephant down to size, you can take out the last Dark Purveyor.
Your turn, you whiny MySpace-haired jerk!
Hey guys, Future Me here. I don't usually do this for my videos, and admittedly it's never been a complaint before, but I actually want to drop a spoiler warning for the end of the game here. Because of how much I enjoy this game and want people who never played it to maybe try it one day, I don't want to spoil the final part of the game. It's not a crazy twist or anything, but still, if you'd rather not be spoiled, skip to this part in the video. And with that, Swan's evil plan has been thwarted, right? Nope. Turns out all of this was part of his master plan. You know the words each zombie lord said after they died? Turns out it was part of a sacred ritual, the 5 of them acting as sacrifices for Swan's plan to succeed. As he thanks Juliet for her assistance, he reveals she's the reason he did all of this in the first place. He explains that he was constantly bullied and rejected by his fellow classmates, ridiculed and tormented day after day. However, that's not what pushed him over the edge. Remember when I compared him to Elliot Rodger? Well, Juliet happened to be the only person in school who was nice to him, which caused him to fall in love and obsess over Juliet. Unfortunately, she was already in love with Nick, and to be absolutely clear here, Swan never once actually told Juliet how he felt. So while he took it as a rejection, and the last straw, she never actually turned him down. So in short, Swan is an incel. And then he blows his own head off.
Bitch!
So fuck all of you. Your eternal screams of horror will be my pop music.
We live in a society, am I right? With Swan killing himself, he's completed the dark ritual, combining tons of dead zombies along with his own corpse to summon the zombie of zombies, Killabilly, who is a giant, undead, fat Elvis. Truly, it's the end of the world. Not to worry though, Juliet's not given up yet. Cue one last final stage. Arriving near where Killabilly is rampaging, Juliet gets a call, and to everyone's surprise, it's Morikawa-sensei. No, he's not alive, he's just phoning her from the afterlife. He's aware of the Killabilly situation from the other side, and wants to help Juliet as best as he can in taking it down. This final level is a race to Killabilly, the giant undead Elvis impersonator attacking you throughout the entire level. When you make it to him, it's time to take down the final boss, and compared to Lewis Legend, it's a serious letdown. The first phase has you shoot his eyes out, while the second has you chop off his fingers. It's very basic, brain-dead stuff. He'll summon some zombies to assist him, but there really isn't anything complicated about this fight at all. Honestly, Killabilly's a real letdown of a final boss. After you've beaten this phase, you've essentially beaten the game, as there's not really anything else going on outside of a few cutscenes. Morikawa-sensei will call, telling Juliet she needs to get inside Killabilly in order to finish him off. Before she can work out a plan on how to actually do that, her dad swoops in to assist.
Juliet! Look out!
No! Before the whole goes...
But my daddy!
Her dad having sacrificed himself, Juliet's overcome with despair. Only through Nick's motivation are the two able to move on to Killabilly's core. Interestingly enough, Swan's corpse is attached to the core, but it's not made clear if Swan was controlling Killabilly this whole time. Killabilly does wish Juliet happy birthday when he first snatches her up, but that could be knowledge passed on from Swan, and less because he was actually in control. Morikawa-sensei calls one last time and tells Juliet the only way to finish off Killabilly and it comes at a terrible cost. I'll let this whole end scene play itself out.
Take control of his core and make him destroy himself.
How?
By detonating a Nick bomb.
A what?
Like you have throughout this battle, you must connect Nick's head to Swan's body.
But what will happen to Nick?
I am so sorry, as Nick would die. But perhaps...
Sensei? I can't hear you!
You were right all along, Juliet. There's a reason I'm here. There's a plan greater than all of us. But it's time to say goodbye. Put me there and make the bomb.
What?
You need to put me on Swan's body. It's the only way to stop him.
Nick, no! He said you'll die!
Juliet, it's okay. I feel strong for the first time in my life. I feel lucky to have been on this journey with you and your family. And I feel like a zombie hunter.
I can't, Nick. I don't want to be without you.
I know, baby. But sometimes there are more important things than what we want in life.
Nick.
I love you too, baby. More than anything.
Poor Nick. He gets bitten by a zombie, turned into a living head, and blown up in order to save the world. Even if that last one he chose to do willingly, it's still a shitty position to be put in. Luckily, the powers that be seem to agree, and cut Nick a solid deal, bringing my boy back to life as a reward for his good deed. Unfortunately, they kind of botched his resurrection. Poor guy is back in Morikawa's body instead. Well, at least he's got the best view of Juliet's boobs now. Also, amazingly, Gideon survived his sacrifice. Somehow. Guess he jumped out at the last minute or something. With that, the gang all go home to celebrate Juliet's birthday. Nick being introduced to Juliet's mom and giving his girlfriend the gift he got her. A bouquet of lollipops. How sweet. With that, they all live happily ever after. Unless you forgot to save all of Juliet's classmates. In which case you get the bad ending where Juliet's mom is a zombie. And that's Lollipop Chainsaw. After you've beaten the game, you unlock a new difficulty level, along with some new costumes in the shop. Like I said at the beginning, I absolutely love this game. And despite the almost non-stop praise I've given it, I can't pretend it doesn't have its flaws. The first is the length of the game, which on your first playthrough, assuming you don't replay a level after beating it, will probably run you about 6 hours, which for a full-price game back in the day, isn't that great. I know the game is built to replay levels to get a higher score, but I think maybe 2 more stages would have done a lot to balance out the length. Second is the enemies. While the bosses, most of them anyway, are pretty awesome and decently challenging, the normal zombies are boring cannon fodder. They barely change outside of their designs, and while the game will throw some different zombie types during stages, they don't really slow you down that much. I was going to originally compare it to the zombie varieties from other games, but I think maybe there should have been a bigger focus on bosses. Similar to No More Heroes, maybe make the basic zombies a non-issue and focus on more interesting boss fights. It also helps to pad out its short length. Third is the cheap deaths I was complaining about during Stage 2. The fact you can ruin a perfect run of a stage due to failing a minigame is seriously frustrating. It's made worse because some minigames, like the elevator climb, don't explain that you can fall from an open window, and that you have to start what's already a long section right from the beginning. Ditto for Zombie Baseball and the Chainsaw Blaster's terrible auto-aim. From there, all I have are minor nitpicks. For example, how zombies can interrupt you during the middle of a combo, the wonkiness of the camera when you're moving around or are in a tight corridor, how Nick Roulette is super underutilized and almost pointless once Juliet has unlocked certain combos, and the combos themselves are fun, but you're almost always going to use the same 2 or 3 in order to guarantee better sparkle hunting. But as far as I'm concerned, the pros far outweigh the cons. I barely touched on it at all throughout the video, and barely do it in most of my videos for that matter, but the music is absolutely amazing. The licensed music like Lollipop, Hey Mickey, and Spin Me Round go well with the poppy atmosphere of the game. But the original score is where the game really shines. Jointly composed by Jimmy Urine of the band MSI, who also voices punk rock zombie Zed, he brings the over-the-top energy and randomness from his usual music to create some banging boss themes. And also Akira Yamaoka, who you might know as the guy behind the soundtrack to almost all of the Silent Hill games. Where Jimmy covered the bosses, Akira covered the stages themselves, helping build tension and keep you engaged as you cut zombies to bits. I love the story and characters. Since it dropped during the peak of the Brown era of gaming, it was nice to have something over the top and colorful that didn't really take itself all that seriously. Juliet is a hot and badass protagonist, fully capable of taking care of herself and handling any situation, and existing during a time where female leads were still pretty rare. Tara Strong gives her a ditzy but headstrong personality that suits her well. She plays off well against Michael Rosenbaum's Nick, who plays the straight man to her crazy antics, losing his patience at the absurdity of things around him, but also playing the caring boyfriend who really loves Juliet. Despite my criticism about its length, this game is just built for speedrunning. Being able to dive right into the action, the lack of cutscenes barely slowing you down, and if you ignore the minigames, you can breeze on by from beginning to the end. Having replayed it for the first time in almost a decade, I could see myself jumping in from time to time just to goof around, enjoy the music, and stare at Juliet. I just wish this game wasn't stuck on the PS3 and Xbox 360. Despite it being Grasshopper's best-selling game, it hasn't been ported anywhere else after release. Made even worse as the game isn't on PS Now and isn't backwards compatible with the Xbox One, so literally stuck on 7th gen hardware. Bump the game up to 1080p 60 frames per second and port the damn thing to PC and Switch already. And needless to say, there hasn't been a sequel either. And probably never will be. Critics weren't kind when it first released, and it's easy to say that, oh, it wouldn't fly in today's SJW gaming culture, which is probably true. But hey, Bayonetta still exists. Sort of. But I think the lack of a sequel just has to do more with Grasshopper's approach to games. Outside of No More Heroes, they rarely do sequels in the first place, usually going for a new IP instead. But who knows, if enough demands exist, maybe we'll get to see Juliet in all her zombie slaying glory. To sum up the video, Lollipop Chainsaw is an underrated gem of the 7th gen of console gaming. An over-the-top parody and love letter to the zombie genre that knows what it is and isn't ashamed by it. It's all about sex, blood, and rock and roll. And that's the video. Thanks for watching, guys. For such a short game, I wasn't really expecting the video to be this long. Just goes to show how much I really enjoy it. As I wrap up this recording, I'm prepping for the channel's first anniversary, and I think it's an appropriate video to commemorate a year on YouTube. While I still have my free time, I'm going to try and push more videos from my Nuzlocke, and hopefully I won't blow it this time. Again, thank you for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and comment down below about what you thought. Did you play Lollipop Chainsaw when it first came out? Do you think Juliet deserves more games? Should we get a remaster at the very least? And if you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. I'm FuzzySlippers, and I'll see you later. Peace.